a tutorial for fair directors on how to monitor and track the data and the projects that are coming and feeding into your fair. First thing we'll want to do is go to Scienteer and log in. We want to use our fair administrator username and password. This will apply to district, regional, and state fairs. I then want to go to my role chooser and select the correct role. If I have multiple roles, most of you probably do, we want to find the correct fair. In this case, I'm going to my regional fair. Now I'm on my regional fair dashboard. And one of the things that we need to know, and we need to know right away, are what projects are coming into our fair. And the way we do that now is to monitor through our students and projects in a right-hand menu. Before we had any projects submitted to us, these numbers were 0. Once they are submitted to us, they become ours, and they will appear in this menu here. For test purposes, I just have sent one project to the regional fair, so it's going to be a very small fair. I can click on students, and then I'll see a list of all of those students that are coming into my fair. I can see whether or not that student has confirmed yet, and I can see whether or not that project has been reviewed by my SRC. I also have some other buttons over here, but the main one that I'm interested in is this Export All Students buttons. If I click this, I get a CSV dump of every student who has registered with my fair, and that's what most of us are probably interested in, and it dumps all of their information, including their contact information, every field in the database that we have on that student, including what forms that their project required, and that will be dumped into CSV files. They will all be indexed with by project ID, category, division, and those sorts of things. So that's probably the first and most interesting piece of information that you will have as your fair opens and schools are submitting their data to you. And you'll want to pull that data here under students. If you want it by student, we would use students. If we want it by project, I can export all projects by clicking export all projects. And what it is basically the same information, except the student names are concatenated into one line. If it's a team, there would be several students listed in one field, so you would have Bob and Jane and whatnot separated by comma in these fields. So this would list all of your projects by project ID coming into your fair. So if you want individual entries for each one of the students coming into your fair, then you want to use your student menu. Now, as you select winners and advance winners onto a higher fair, to the regional or state fair, if you're a regional fair, as you advance students, these numbers are going to go away. It'll go down. Each student you send doesn't belong to you anymore, so this number is going to go down. So if I selected this student and finalize, this number would say 0, but that does not prevent me from exporting all of the information. Even though that says 0 and it doesn't show any students there, if I look at the CSV, it will still be populated with all the students that were in my fair. So don't let that scare you. That's just a way of the system tracking the students. So you'll have a record in this menu right here for every student who was sent into your fair, and you can export that and use it for your registration purposes. If you do your registration purposes by project, then you would want to go to projects and export all projects. And the same thing applies. As I select winners, these numbers will go back down to 0, but don't let that scare you. Your data is not gone. It is still there. Now, another thing that we like to do after our fair and we've selected our winners, we like to track our winners and see how they're doing at the higher fairs. We can do that as well too with our finalize winners button. At the moment, I don't have any winners to finalize, but I could it's probably not going to let me select a winner because I haven't reviewed the project. Yes, I need to review the projects. If I want to automatically approve all the projects before they enter my fair, I can do that. The idea is not to be cheating. The idea is that your SRC members are the same SRC members that were at the district fairs and the lower fairs and have been reviewing these projects all along. And to save them a little bit of time, the mass numbers coming into your fair, if you're using the same SRC members, then we could do pre-approve all of our projects in one swipe. We would choose our SRC chair and the review date that we want stamped on that Form 1B temporarily, and click Submit. Now it's approved all of my projects. I go back to my dashboard and it will let me select them as winners. I don't have any projects in there. I've got a project in the middle school division. That's where it was. So I'm going to say yes, I want to advance him. He's not an he's an ISEF or an I sweep winner, or a Broadcom winner. If it's a middle school, it's not ISEF, it's Broadcom. But if it's a Broadcom, I want to select him, and I can give him a place that he got at my fair, just so that I can keep track of it for future purposes. We'll save the winner. Once I'm done saving the winner, then I can finalize, and you should watch the finalize tutorial before you do this. I'll select my middle school division projects. I understand that this is the last time I can do it, and after this I can do no more. I will finalize. Now that just finalized my middle school division. I can still select winners for the high school division, but I haven't received any projects there yet. Now let me go back to the dashboard, and you can see that step 5 and step 6 are complete now. I can always click back on step 6, middle school division, and I can track my students and see how they're doing at the higher fairs. Right now he went on to this project's on at the state fair. It has not been reviewed yet, and the student has not confirmed that he's going to the fair yet. We want the students to log in after each fair as soon as possible and confirm their entry into the next fair, so we can monitor them. That way we can monitor their SRC status. So when I send my projects from the regional to state, I can monitor their status and see how they're doing. If I need to, I can jump in into the student's account and click confirm for them, or contact their teacher, or whatever I need to do by clicking view project. Interesting export here. I can export my winners lists, and that will give me a list of only my winners that I selected, for example, to go to the state fair, so that I can keep a record of that in a spreadsheet format if I want to. It also remembers the placement that I gave them. So 2 years from now, I need to know who got third place in biochemistry. I can go back and find that information, or I have it exported to a spreadsheet. I can put it in some other database format that I use at my local fair. That sums it up for the short tutorial on how to accept and track students that are coming into your regional fair.